I have no sense of nationalism, only a cosmic sense of belonging to the human family. Well, I share this worldview. I'm not a fan of flag-waving jingoism and all the conflict and needless division it brings. The obvious point is people have way more in common than not, wherever on this planet they're from. The current nation-state sovereignty of the nation as an absolute or almost religious principle, this was preceded not too long ago by the feudal divine right of king system. What does the past, as in a few centuries ago, have in common with the world of today? Unjust power structures, rigid hierarchies, and of course war. Not only viewed as a valid, justifiable means to crush the enemy, whoever the enemy might be, but still also romanticised. War has always been a costly business, but today, the cost of a global war, whoever's left to pay that debt, I would not envy. That could be a horrific burden to bear. Another Rosika Schwimmer quote: "If brains have brought us to what we are in now, I think it is time to allow our hearts to speak. When our sons are killed by the millions, let us, mothers, only try to do good by going to the kings and emperors without any other danger than a refusal." Unquote. Rosika was kind of a pioneer, one of the first women to be an ambassador, one of the first World Federalists, and a campaigner for the women's vote in an era where women were treated with contempt, infantilized. Like many prominent campaigners and champions for peace, she will have no doubt been disgusted by the events of the First and Second World Wars. She was Hungarian. Due to political goings-on, instability in Europe, she ended up moving to the United States in the early 1920s, where she spent the rest of her life, I understand. Died at the age of 70 in 1948. One more quote: "Women's rights, men's rights, human rights, all are threatened by the ever-present spectre of war, so destructive now of human material and moral values as to render victory indistinguishable from defeat." Unquote. She would have lived just long enough to see the beginning of the nuclear age and the opening flare-ups and confrontations of the Cold War. The destructive nature of all-out violence, civil war or international conflict, the destruction is self-evident, but it's not merely the wreckage, the brutality, the savagery itself, which is of course bad enough. It's the spectre, as Rosika Schwimmer put it, the shadow of conflict, impoverishing human relations, increasing the strength and success of extremist groups, and for nations and regions previously ravaged by war, there is the ever-present fear, even as people try to rebuild, that fresh horrors await just around the corner.